Greetings, good people. This video is all about how to take a PowerPoint or a Keynote presentation and turn it into a video so that it can be made part of a Zoom session. The first thing you have to do is to open up your presentation either in PowerPoint or Keynote and export all of its slides as PNG images. So let's start by opening up your presentation thing, either PowerPoint or Keynote. Use Edit, Select All to select all of your slides. Use File, Export. This will present you with the dialog box. Remember to change the type of the file to PNG. You must export PNG images. You should now have all those images stored tidily in a folder on your desktop. You're ready to make your movie, so you can close down PowerPoint. When you start iMovie, you should be presented with a screen something like this. In the top left-hand corner, you've got the big thing with a big cross on it, which says Create New. Use that to create a new movie. Select Movie rather than Trailer. You want to change the name of your project to something more meaningful, so press the Projects button, which is in the top left-hand corner of the screen next to the red, yellow and green dots. Enter the required name in the dialog box and press OK. Now you're back on the project screen so that you can reopen the project, which now has a meaningful name. Press Import Media. Select Desktop and then open the folder which contains the images of your slides. Select all the slides, scrolling down if necessary, and then press Input Selected. This will import all of the slides into iMovie. Select your first slide and drag it down onto the timeline. There is a slider at the top right-hand corner of the timeline which allows you to adjust the time scale of the timeline, so you can squeeze everything up in one corner or drag it out for fine editing. As you can see, there's been a gap of about a couple of hours in the production of this video, such that night has fallen and I now have the lights on. I want you to ignore that failure of continuity, but just remember when you're making your video, 1, you've got to have the same lighting conditions, and 2, it helps if you wear the same clothes. Otherwise, magically, you change into something different. Okay, let's ignore all that. Let's assume that the next thing you want to do when you prepare your video is you want to do a piece to camera, which actually introduces something. You know how to put fixed slides, which you've imported from PowerPoint, into your video. Now you want to do a piece to camera which introduces something. Up towards the top left-hand corner of your screen, there are 3 little grey icons, the right hand of which has a downward arrow on it. That's the Import Media button. press that button. Select the built-in camera as shown on your screen here. Then you can press the red button in the center to record, press it again to stop, and finally use the close button, which is at the bottom right hand corner. When you return to this screen, the clip which you have just made will have been added to your library of clips. You may need to scroll it down because it is the last one in your library. Drag and drop that clip onto the timeline just in the same way as you did with one of your slides. You now know how to take a slide which you've got out of PowerPoint and drag and drop it down onto the timeline of your video. You also know how to do a piece to camera like this one and to drag and drop that onto your timeline. The next thing I want to deal with is what you need to have, which is the ability to put a voiceover track over one of your slides in the same way as I've put voiceover tracks in the various fixed slides within this presentation. So that's what I'm going to deal with next. Start by dragging the slide that you want to show onto the timeline. You will notice that in the upper right quadrant of your picture there is a preview of the clip. At the bottom left hand corner of the clip there is a little icon which looks like a microphone. Press that icon. The play controls underneath the preview of the slide change to a record button. If you press that button, it will start the recording, and when you press that button again, it will stop the recording. You can turn off the recording mode by pressing the microphone icon again, and that's it. The recorded audio is shown graphically in green underneath the slide. You should then adjust the length of the clip which shows the video of the slide to match the length of the audio recording. So now we've got a slide in there and you've put some voiceover on that slide. Next, we want to organize some smooth transitions between the various clips which you have placed on your timeline. Along the top of the area which has got all your clips in, you will find 5 tabs which read My Media, Audio, Titles, Backgrounds and Transitions. Click on Transitions. The first transition is a simple crossfade, and that is what I recommend you use. Drag the simple crossfade into the spaces between your clips in the timeline. If you drag the first one down, you should get a screen that looks like this. I've now added my final slide to the timeline, but my final summary slide doesn't really have a proper the end. So now I'm going to show you how to add a title. If you look along that list of tabs, one of them is Titles. Click on that. Simply select your style of title and drag it onto the timeline. Edit the text in the preview picture and tidy up the whole thing with transitions. That's not everything, but it's enough to enable you to start building a video from your presentations. The final thing you need to know is that to get this out as something you can send to other people, you need File, Share, and then the menu will allow you to send it to YouTube, or you can send it to all sorts of places, but that's how you get a final copy out of the system. I hope you'll found this instructive. Try it. It's really not that hard.